I'm Mike Berry. I live in Chapel Hill, North Carolina. I'm a visitor. I'm a user of the National Seashore and have been for about 40 years. Over the past 40 years, I've developed long-term relationships with many residents in the Outer Banks whose families have been here hundreds of years. I'm a student of history, culture, and the unique ecology of the Outer Banks. I'm also professionally an environmental manager and scientist. I've studied the issue of ORVs on the Outer Banks, access to the Outer Banks, the enabling legislation of the Outer Banks, and more particularly the role the Outer Banks plays in the education of our young people and our society as to how environments work. In my civilian life, after I returned home from Vietnam, I began to practice environmental management and science, mainly with the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency. I was the deputy director of the National Center for Environmental Assessment for over 22 years at Research Triangle Park. That's an office in the Office of Research and Development of EPA that prepares the science that is the basis for regulation that EPA establishes and implements. While working for government, I was also a professor, an adjunct professor at the University of North Carolina, where I started in 1984 teaching environmental policy and management courses, environmental science courses. I've taught those courses in the School of Public Health, Business School, where I started the first courses in business and environment. And after I retired, I taught environmental science in the environmental studies program at UNC. A number of my students got involved with the ORV plan development process out here as interns with the Park Service. And I became aware of the many issues and concerns we have with regards to managing the seashore with regards to natural resources, but also human access. One thing that became very clear to me about 10 years ago is the absence of information, science, good science to allow decision makers to really have a strong basis for what they do. Much of management of the park involves judgment calls. I want to state clearly for the record, especially my environmental friends, that I have always, for the past 4 decades, remained professionally committed to protection of the environment. I'm particularly concerned about environmental conditions that affect health and well-being of humans, and with the conservation of natural resources that are essential components of healthy environments. As a public health environmental manager, I always place the health and well-being of humans first. And I'm never going to accept a political philosophy that suggests that people are less important than other species. That's non-negotiable. With a good understanding of science, knowledge of how environment works, humans can make rational decisions on how to manage their conditions so as to connect with their environment, at the same time provide for the existence of other species.